1. Introduction. My name is Olivia. I am 55 years old. I work as a florist, so I understand the delicate nature of weddings. I know how important it is for two people to fit together perfectly. This story begins on the day of my daughter's wedding. My daughter's name is Eliza. She is young, only 25 years old. She is full of life and energy. The man she chose to marry is Nicholas. He is much older than her. Nicholas is 48 years old. I watched the wedding day begin. The sun was bright and the church was full of people. I observed the guests. They wore nice clothes and smiled big smiles. They looked happy for the couple. I tried to keep a neutral face, but inside I felt a heavy worry. I did not share this worry with anyone at the wedding. I looked at the contrast between the bride and the groom. Eliza was energetic. Her white dress moved when she walked. She looked like a bright light. Nicholas stood very still beside her. He looked serious and sometimes tired. He had gray hair. He was a kind man, but the age difference was clear to everyone. I thought about the two different lives they wanted. I am a florist, and I know that some flowers look beautiful together, but they cannot share the same garden. This couple was like that. They were two different types of plants. Eliza was a bright sunflower, always moving toward the sun. Nicholas was like a strong, quiet oak tree. The moment came for the rings. Eliza smiled a wide, wide smile when Nicholas placed the gold ring on her finger. Nicholas was calm. He looked at her seriously. They exchanged their vows. When they said the final words, the sound seemed very loud in the quiet church. When they finished, I felt a heavy, cold feeling deep in my stomach. It was like a stone sitting there. I kept this feeling hidden from the world. I clapped when the guests clapped, but my hands were shaking slightly. I watched my young daughter marry this older, serious man. I wished them happiness, but I worried about the long journey ahead for them both. The day was beautiful, but my heart was not. 2. She is not happy. 3 months passed very quickly. The big wedding day was now just a memory. My daughter, Eliza, called me on the phone every day. Sometimes she called twice a day. She was not happy in her new marriage. Her voice sounded tired and full of frustration. Nicholas was 48 years old. Eliza was only 25. This big difference in age meant they wanted very different things from life. Eliza wanted excitement and noise. Nicholas wanted quiet and peace. He wanted a calm life, but Eliza wanted adventure. "He never wants to leave the house, Mom," she cried one morning. "He just wants to sit in his chair and read books or listen to his old jazz records." She hated the quiet evenings. Eliza wanted to travel the world. She wanted to visit faraway places and have big adventures. Nicholas only wanted to work and stay in his large, quiet house. They also disagreed about children. Eliza wanted a baby soon. She wanted a big family. Nicholas told her he did not want children. He explained that he was too old to be a father again. He said he did not have the energy to run after a young child. This made Eliza very sad. She wanted to go to parties and nightclubs with her friends. Nicholas refused to go. He thought the music was too loud and the people were too young. He wanted her to stop going out late. This made Eliza feel trapped. "I feel like I live with a grandfather, not a husband," she told me often. "I regret this decision, Mom." She listened to her age gap regrets. She said she missed her old, free life. I listened to her long complaints. I sighed heavily into the phone. I felt a difficult sadness. I had tried to warn her before the wedding. I told her that his quiet lifestyle would not match her high energy. I told her that he was from a different generation. Now all the problems I predicted were happening. I was her mother, and watching my beautiful daughter suffer was painful. I could not fix the situation. I could only listen and wait for the next phone call. Every day, the heavy feeling I had on the wedding day returned. Her unhappiness was growing quickly. I knew this marriage would not last. 3, she leaves him. One Tuesday afternoon, Eliza arrived at my house. She did not call first. She brought 3 large suitcases with her. I knew immediately that something was wrong. Her face was red, and she looked very upset, almost like a child. She dropped the heavy suitcases onto the wooden floor in the living room. "I cannot live like this anymore, Mom," she shouted loudly. Her voice was full of anger and frustration. "I am leaving Nicholas now. I must leave him today." I tried to stay very calm, but my stomach felt tight. I asked her slowly what had made her decide this so fast. "He is like a grandfather, Mom," she explained, shaking her head hard. "He is not a husband for me. We do not do anything exciting or new. He just wants to read thick books and listen to old jazz records every night. I am 25 years old. I need parties and travel and loud music. I need to live my real life." She told me about her quick plan. It was very impulsive. She was going to fly to Italy right now. She had already bought the plane ticket online an hour ago. She was going with 2 of her closest friends. She called the trip an important escape. She said she needed to forget this terrible mistake she made when she married Nicholas. She reached into the pocket of her jeans. She pulled out a small, shiny silver key. It was the key to Nicholas's large, quiet house. "Please, Mom," she said, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I truly cannot go back there. I cannot see him again and talk about this. It is too painful. Will you please go and get the rest of my things? There are only 4 or 5 boxes left in the small spare room. They have my summer clothes, my favorite shoes, and some old college books." I took the key from her hand. I felt many different, strong emotions. I was angry at Eliza. She had made a serious vow on her wedding day, and she was breaking it completely after only 3 months. It felt very careless and immature, but I also felt a strong sense of relief wash over me. I was relieved because she was finally free from a life that would never make her happy. I wanted to talk to her for a long time, but she looked quickly at her watch. She said she was very late. Her friends were waiting for her in a car near the main airport entrance. She gave me a fast, tight hug. "Thank you, Mom. You always help me," she said quickly. Then she picked up her 3 heavy suitcases. She ran out the door and jumped into the taxi waiting outside. She left quickly, just as she had gotten married quickly. I stood by the door and watched the yellow taxi disappear down the street. Now, I held a difficult job in my hands. I had to face Nicholas and collect the last pieces of my daughter's broken marriage. It was going to be a very awkward and difficult meeting for both of us. I put the small silver key safely on the kitchen table. For visiting his house, I drove to Nicholas's house on a rainy afternoon. The rain was very heavy. I felt awkward about the visit. My daughter, Eliza, left Nicholas after only 3 months. This situation was a big scandal in our small town. I stopped the car and went to the front door. Nicholas opened the door quickly. He looked thin, but he was very calm. He did not look angry at all. "Hello, Olivia," he said to me. His voice was deep and soft. I just said hello back. I felt uncomfortable. He was the husband and I was the mother. He invited me inside. His house was clean and quiet. There were many books on the shelves. He showed me the boxes that held Eliza's things. We worked together to pack the last items. We put her shoes and clothes into big boxes. We did not speak much while we worked. We both knew the marriage was over. I felt the sadness in the quiet room. The rain outside suddenly became worse. It was hitting the large windows very hard. "The rain is too heavy for you to drive now," Nicholas said kindly. "Would you like some hot tea, Olivia?" I wanted to refuse, but I was cold. I sat down in his living room. He brought 2 cups of tea. The tea was warm and comforting. We sat there, drinking the tea slowly. We were careful not to talk about Eliza or the failed marriage. It was a painful topic for both of us. Instead, we talked about other things. Nicholas pointed to a tall bookshelf. He asked me if I liked history books. I told him I liked reading fiction stories best. We talked about the weather outside. We spoke about the cold spring we were having this year. It felt very strange to sit there with him. We were polite, almost like 2 strangers. He was my son-in-law, but we discussed the books on his wall, not the life he lost. I knew Nicholas was a man who loved quiet evenings and calm things. Eliza wanted parties and adventure. I understood why they could not stay together, but I kept my thoughts silent. I finished my tea. I thanked him for his kindness and his help. I left the house with the boxes. I drove slowly, watching the rain fall heavily onto the road. 5. In the garden. I returned to Nicholas's house 2 more times that week. I needed to sign papers for Eliza's divorce. She still refused to speak to him. The heavy atmosphere from the first visit was gone. I started to see Nicholas differently during these trips. I stopped seeing him only as an older man. I began to see him as a mature and thoughtful person. He was an architect who loved history. He enjoyed calm and quiet evenings. He was not boring, he was just peaceful. I realized that my early judgment had been wrong. He was kind and he was gentle. One sunny afternoon, we went outside. Nicholas wanted to show me his garden. It was beautiful. He had many types of flowers, but he was most proud of his roses. The air smelled fresh and sweet as we walked between the flower beds. There were roses of many colors, deep red, soft pink, and pure white. They were perfect, like the flowers I arrange in my shop. We stopped near a large bush of dark red roses. Nicholas looked down at the ground. He looked very sad, and his voice was low when he spoke. "I truly tried to make Eliza happy," he said. He paused for a moment, thinking deeply. "But I know I cannot be 25 again. I could not give her the life she wanted." When he confessed this, I felt a strong wave of empathy. It was a strange, deep feeling in my chest. I saw him not as the cause of the failure, but as a victim of a bad decision. I felt sorry for his pain. He was a man who had lost something important. I wanted to give him comfort. I looked at him directly. "It is not your fault, Nicholas," I said softly. I meant the words completely. He raised his head and looked into my eyes. His tired eyes held a lot of warmth. In that moment, the roles were gone. We were not the mother-in-law and the separated husband. We were 2 people who understood disappointment. We shared a moment of genuine connection. It was a quiet understanding that went beyond Eliza or the failed marriage. We stood together in silence among the beautiful roses for a long time. It felt peaceful and right. 6. Dinner together. It was 1 month after I signed the final divorce paper. Eliza was still traveling in Italy. Nicholas called me on a Thursday afternoon. He asked me a quiet question. "Would you like to have dinner with me, Olivia?" I was very surprised. Dinner? This was a huge social risk. I am Olivia, his former mother-in-law. People would see us together. People would certainly talk about the scandal. I thought about the invitation for 2 full days. Was this wrong? Eliza and Nicholas were completely finished. The marriage was over. I realized I wanted to see him. His conversations were always calm and intelligent. I missed talking to him. Finally, I called him back and I said yes. I told him I would meet him at the restaurant at 7:30. I spent the afternoon getting ready. I chose a nice black dress. I felt nervous, like a young woman on a first date. I drove to the restaurant slowly. When I walked inside, Nicholas immediately saw me. He stood up straight and tall. He looked truly happy to see me. He wore a dark blue suit. He pulled out my chair for me. This simple action felt very special. We sat across from each other at a small, elegant table. The restaurant was quiet. The lights were soft and warm. There was soft jazz music playing quietly in the background. It was a calm and peaceful atmosphere. Eliza would hate this music. She liked loud songs, but I loved the feeling of peace. We ordered wine and then our dinner. We talked easily, just like we did when we packed Eliza's boxes. We spoke about my flower shop and his new architecture project. I told him a funny story about a customer. He laughed loudly. His laugh was warm and honest. I looked at his face across the table. I realized something important. For many months, I only saw Nicholas as Eliza's old husband. I saw him as a son-in-law. Now I saw him only as a man, a kind, thoughtful man. His eyes were thoughtful. His hands were large and strong. I saw maturity and stability. We finished our food. Nicholas looked at me across the table. Our eyes stayed connected for a long, quiet moment. It felt like a question was hanging in the air between us. Are we moving past friendship? Then he reached out his hand slowly. He placed his warm hand gently on mine, right next to my water glass. The touch was light but powerful. I stopped talking immediately. My heart started beating very fast. My cheeks instantly felt very hot. I did not move my hand away. I felt a sudden, strong electrical feeling move through my body. I was shocked by my own reaction. This was not respect for a son-in-law. This was attraction. Nicholas did not look away. He just smiled a small, knowing smile. The air around us felt exciting. I knew the night was not over. 7, a new love. We drove back to Nicholas's house after dinner. The evening was quiet and the air was cool. We went inside to listen to music. The house felt welcoming and warm. I did not want the night to end. We stood close to the stereo. Nicholas chose a record. The music was soft, like the jazz from the restaurant. The mood between us became very serious. We were not talking about books or the weather anymore. We were both thinking about what was happening. I knew this situation was impossible for many people. It was a great scandal. Nicholas was my daughter's ex-husband. We were doing something that was socially wrong, but we could not deny the feeling. The strong connection was real. Nicholas looked at me. His eyes were very serious. He gently moved a piece of hair from my face. His touch was light. I felt my heart beat faster. "This is a scandal, Olivia," he whispered softly. "I know," I replied. My voice was very low. He leaned down and kissed me. The kiss was slow. It was long and full of passion. It was so different from the kisses of young men. Young men are often nervous or too fast. Nicholas was sure. His kiss told me that he was serious. It showed me a deep love. This was a mature love. It was stronger and calmer than young love. I felt a strong, deep connection to him. I realized I had waited for this feeling for a long time. This love was stable and real. It felt like coming home. The time passed quickly. I knew I needed to go, but I did not move. I looked into his eyes. He asked me to stay. I agreed immediately. I did not go home that night. We stayed together in his house. In the morning, I felt different. I felt safe and truly seen by him. Nicholas treated me with great care. He made me feel cherished and important. I had not felt this way in many years. I felt beautiful again. I realized that true love is not always loud and fast. Sometimes it is quiet and sure, found in the most unexpected place. This was the beginning of our new love. It was a deep and surprising happiness. I knew our lives were changing forever. I did not care about the scandal anymore. I only cared about him. 8. A happy life. 6 months have passed since that important night. Life is very different now. My daughter, Eliza, is far away. She lives in Rome, Italy. She found a new partner there. He is young, like her, and they share the same energy. She is very happy now. She calls me often to talk about her new life. She loves the city and the adventure. Yesterday, I decided it was time to tell Eliza the truth. This was a difficult phone call. I told her that Nicholas and I were together. I told her we were in love. Eliza was silent for a long moment. She was very, very shocked. I waited for her to shout or cry, thinking she would be angry, but she did not. Then she started to laugh. She laughed loudly for a long time. "Mom," she said, "I am happy for you. Nicholas is perfect for you." She joked that Nicholas was better suited for me because we both like the calm life. She said, "You like the quiet life, Mom. I like the loud life." Her acceptance made me feel a great relief. I learned a great lesson about love. It does not follow rules or plans. I thought I knew everything about finding a partner. I judged Nicholas because he was older than Eliza. I thought he was wrong for my daughter, but I was wrong about him. He was the perfect man, but he was perfect for me. Love does not care about age or expectations. Sometimes the relationship that starts badly becomes the best thing. I thought the end of Eliza's marriage was a disaster, a terrible storm. But that storm brought me to Nicholas. Now my life is peaceful. I sit in the garden with Nicholas almost every day. He shows me his beautiful roses. We drink tea and read books together. We often listen to soft jazz music in the evening. We cook dinner together in his warm kitchen. Every day is simple, but every day is good. We enjoy the silence. We plan to travel next year, but only to quiet places like the countryside or the mountains. We are looking forward to our future together. This calm life is what I always wanted, but I did not know it. I found my happiness where I least expected it. My story started with the stress of a bad wedding, but it ended with a new, true love. I am 55 years old, and I